you gotta look at two things. You think, am I able to pull the trigger to kill somebody, or am I not able to pull the trigger? Or do I have the power to pull the trigger? But after a while in combat, you know damn well if you don't pull the trigger. So, this is something to see. Unbelievable. This is where the sniper had hit me. You could see the lighter part. That's where they had to operate, cut me open, and re-stitch it all. In memory of all and the work that Paris shot against this world. I appreciate. I'm very happy I was able to come and visit you.
Hey there, everyone. I'm Michael Davidson, founder of Eagle Society. We're a community of citizens, leaders, and patriots dedicated to championing solutions to key challenges facing our country, while stewarding American values and heritage for the future. Recently, we had the privilege of supporting a sacred mission helping several World War II veterans return to the Pacific for the 80th anniversary of the battles they once fought: Guam, Iwo Jima, and Okinawa. One of them was 99-year-old Walter LaSota, a United States Marine. Walter fought in one of the deadliest battles of the Pacific, Okinawa's Sugarloaf Hill. He was 19 when he was wounded there. He never thought he'd return, but thanks to generous supporters and allies of the Eagle Society, he did. Carry the torch. A veteran's return, a nation's reminder.
Hello, I am Walter LaSota. I was drafted when I was 18 years old. So then I joined the Marine Corps through the draft. And then I went to Parris Island for training. And then when I was done there after 3 months down at Parris Island, they shipped me up to Boston, Massachusetts Naval Yard. And up there I was put on guard duty, checking people coming in and going out off the base. And then from there, I was moved over to Squantum Airfield, which is a little town not far from the naval base. But I was moved over there, and I was walking around doing guard duty over there. From there, I went to Camp Lejeune. Then we was down there for training down there. So then we were out in a rifle range one day, and the sergeant come over to me, and he says, I was shooting at my M1, and then he said to me, he says, did you ever shoot a Browning automatic rifle? I says, no. He said, well, try this one. So I tried it. He said, now, okay, take a shot at the bullseye. So I shot, and I was dead center the bullseye. So then they raised the flag, showed it that I did hit the bullseye. And then they put the target back up again. And then he told me to take another shot. So I shot the second time, and I hit the bullseye again. But they had a hell of a time looking, and one guy down at the thing says, he put the bullseye in the same spot he put the first shot. And they couldn't believe it. So the sergeant came over to me, he says, you are now an automatic rifleman. He says, you're going to have a BAR. So I said, that's all right with me. We got aboard trains, and we went across country, and I went to San Diego, and that's where we boarded a Liberty ship and got on that Liberty ship. We didn't know we were going, but then after we were out a while, they told us that we were going to Guadalcanal. So that's where I ended up, because that was where the 6th Marine was formed. That was the only division that was ever formed out of the United States. And we done some training down there and stuff. And then one day they says, for us to start packing up, that we will be leaving there. We're going aboard ship and we're leaving. But they wouldn't say where we were going. So we, for the longest time, we did not know where we were even sailing to. So later on, after a while, I guess it may be the third or fourth day out at sea, they said that we will be landing at Okinawa. And then they said, your outfit is the first wave going in. So around 8:30, figure we're going to be hitting the beach. Finally, we got settled down. We sat down in the Amtrak. Then the Amtrak went out the back end of the ship. And we circled around for a couple minutes till everybody got off the ship. And then we got the signal to go ahead, go in the land. So we went in, but then our Amtrak driver got stuck part way up. So we had to jump out the back end. Got a little wet, not too bad. And then we hit the land and went in, but it was all barren country. I mean, there was nothing there. So we just kept advancing. So around 12 o'clock, we asked the guy, where are we? And he says, well, right now we're at D+8. You're 8 days ahead of schedule. That you're only supposed to be here 8 days. But we done that in about 4 hours. We covered this territory, which was shortening our time. Of course, we had no resistance. As far as I remember, there was some sporadic shooting once in a while down from my right, but I don't know where it was coming from. So we stayed there, and the guy, sergeant, says to us, gentlemen, we're going to sleep, we're going to stay here till morning. So part of you sleep and the other part stay awake. Oh, that's what we done. We stayed there. He said, gentlemen, he says, you're going to be going north from here. So in the morning, come up. He said, okay, pack up. We're going to head north. So we headed north for this other hill. And we were going up there. We were not hitting no resistance at all. And Japanese, you could find Japanese all along the way that were committing suicide. They would take a grenade and hit it against their helmet and hold it against their head. They just blew their head off. So as we were walking up, I was on the little high side of the slope. And I looked down towards the valley and I see this Japanese guy at the tree. So I took a pop shot at him. Well, he didn't fall, he stayed there. It's only a couple seconds when one of the guys hollered up. He said, don't shoot down this way. We're coming up the valley. I said, okay. I said, but the watchers, the Jap up there in the tree. So he walked up, he got to the thing, and he's hollered up to me. He says, no, he ain't gonna go nowhere. He hung himself. He said, that's why you didn't fall when you shot him. He said, you hit him, but he said he didn't fall because he had a rope around his neck. He was hanging. So from there, we moved up all the way up through as we were going. And more and more the Japs were committing suicide. So we got to the top and everything was okay. So then we sort of reversed our direction a little bit. And then we headed south. So then we went down a little bit, and then we hit a little peninsula, and there was some action out there. So the sergeant said, you gentlemen stay here. He said, the other platoon will go up and see what the hell's going on up there. So they went up, but there was a few Japanese up there that they got a hold of. And then we were sitting around there. We picked up a Okinawan. He was not a Japanese, he was an Okinawan. he was from the United States. We questioned him about everything. And here he had a restaurant in San Francisco. So we had him, so he was he would make coffee for us and fix our lunches or get our lunches ready, whatever we had. So we enjoyed it for a while, but then the security came up and said, we can't keep him, we have to release him, that they're going to take him down, put him with the rest of the prisoners of war. So we said, well, all right. So they came up and got him, and we shook hands and talked to him. And that was the last time I've seen a gentleman. Not long after that is when Admiral Ince came aboard and said that the 6th Marine Division will be going south to replace the 27th Army Division, because the 27th was not moving at all. They were stalemated. And he figured going to send us down there. So we got down there, we replaced them. And then, of course, we got to what we called Sugarloaf Hill. I didn't know nothing about it, but it was quite a big, barren hill. And that's where we ran into a lot of problems. Well, we got to Sugarloaf, then we started up. We had to watch ourselves because the Japanese had pillboxes all around Sugarloaf. But we managed to sneak in through there, and I climbed to the very top. And my friend, or I should say my sidekick that I had, he used to carry all my extra ammunition. So we got this hole, which was just probably caused by a bomb or something. It wasn't much of a foxhole, but it gave us a little cover. And we were in there for a couple minutes, and then all at once he says, damn it, my rifle's jammed, I can't get it free. So I told him, I said, well, you just take care of your rifle. I says, I got us covered on the hill. I said, nobody will come to us. So as we were on the hill, I looked to my right, and then I saw these Japs climbing up the hill to our right and coming up, and I just turned around at them and aimed, and then I hesitated for a minute to whether I was going to fire or how, but since there was 4 of them, I went to automatic fire, which was, to me, was a mistake. I should have went single shot, but I figured with 4, I'm not going to get 4 of them in a single shot, so I better do it. So I quick went to automatic. I fired. I seen 4 Japs fall. I didn't see them get back up, so I figured I hit them that they didn't get back up. Shortly thereafter, that's when more hand grenades were coming at us, and my buddy was throwing the hand grenades back at the Japs because Japanese hand grenades were not very useful because their timing was way off on when they would fire. So he was throwing them back, and then the next thing you know, I heard him holler, duck, bomb. And that's when a bomb went off in our foxhole. So then I got blown out of the foxhole. I must have got blown right up over and down the hill. And I was at the bottom of the hill, and finally came to my senses. And then I tried to get up, but I couldn't get up on my feet. And then 2 Marines were walking up on the side there, came up, and they told me, get up, come on. I said, I can't get up, I can't walk. So they came over, and I put my arms around their necks, and they carried me back to the 8th Station that way. So then I spent, I guess, about 28, 29 days in a hospital. They were taking shrapnel out of my back, off my legs, I still have it in parts of my body that they never got it all out. But I was in there, I guess, good 28, 29 days, something like that. And they come in one day, and they handed me an M1, and they told me, you can go back to your outfit, you're okay. So they give me that M1, and I took it, and I started back looking for my company. Before we got to Sugarloaf, there was a hill there, and I looked at this hill, and I was there, and then one fellow walked up, looked down, and he seen his beautiful sword hanging on a door. Now, the entrance to this hill was two-sided. You could walk from one side to the other, down the other side, or up the other side. And he wanted to go down. I said, no, 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 no. I said, you can't go down. I said, you can't go down. And he didn't know what I meant. I told him, I said, just wait a while. So I called for a flamethrower, and the guy came up, and I explained to him what was what. He said, okay, let me take a look. So he crawled up, looked, and then he said to me, he says, get your guys to walk back up a little bit. He said, I'm going to shoot a flame down in there. He said, I don't know what's down there. So that's what he done. And we hit the flame. We waited for, well, it seemed like a lifetime, but I guess it was only a couple of seconds. Next thing you know, this hill goes up. It's just like somebody would have picked it all up in the air and then just dropped it. It blew to smithereens. So I said to the kid, I said, well, now you want your sword. I said, now you can go dig it out. Well, we didn't know where the sword was because it got buried under all this rubble. So from there, that's where we went to Sugarloaf. But when I got back to my company, they were all new recruits. There was none of the original members of my group were there. So I didn't know any of them. So we were on this hill, and I says to him, told the gentleman this, I said, you gentlemen scatter on this hill and watch me. I'm going to look over the top and see what I could see. So as I was going down the hill, for some reason, I turned around and I seen, instead of them separating, they were grouping together. And I said some nasty words at them. And then the one guy from up there hollered, you better get down, that sniper's going to get you. And of course, then I hollered, which was not very nice, but I says, that son of a bitch can't hit me. And about that time, he showed he could hit me. So he hit me, the bullet hit below my elbow. So I didn't think much of it. I pulled up my shirt, and I could see the mark. And I just walked over to Corman, and I says to him, I says, it's only a little nick. I says, just patch it up. And as he done this, he turned my hand a little bit, and then my hand just dropped. The last tendon of my arm let go, and then I was paralyzed from the elbow down, my fingers and everything. I was paralyzed. So I got back to the aid station, and they put me in the hospital, and they operated, pulled everything back. And then about a week later, a doctor says, well, I think we had a successful operation. I think you'll be okay. He says, how does it feel? I said, well, I can feel it in my fingers now. So I was in there. He kept me there for a while. After they took the bandage and all off, then that's when they gave me an M1 and told me to go back to the company. I said, okay. So I started back to the company, and I got back. Of course, on the way back, I found out that the war was supposedly over. This is where the sniper had hit me. You could see the lighter part, that's where they had to operate, cut me open, and restitch it all. What was left of the company, we joined. Then we went back, they shipped us back to Guam. And we were back on Guam for, I guess I was there for at least 3 months. And then they said to us that, well, our captain was there. He called us all down. Well, there was 8 out of 286 people. There was 8 of the original left. And we were down at Guam, and he told us that we're not going to do anything. Just keep our noses clean. And you don't answer nobody. You don't question nothing. Just if I call you, you better get your ass down here. And when he called, you'd see the 8 guys scattered from areas going down to see him. So one day he called and we went down there, and then he's reading names, and he got to my name and he says, PFC Walter LaSota, and I'm not answering him. He looks over at me and he says, and what the hell's wrong with you, Walter? I said, well, I'm not no PFC. He said, you're a PFC right now. Here they made me a PFC after combat. So then we were stayed there. Then we had the chance to go back to the U.S. aboard a little destroyer escort. And it was 33, 35 of us that got on and joined the Navy to go back to the States. And then we landed at San Diego. And then from San Diego, they shipped me home. And then after I was home, that's when I got the paperwork to go to Quantico, Virginia. And then that's where I stayed until I got discharged.
Often, when veterans are able to go back to where they saw combat, memories are unlocked that were effectively trapped in time. So we asked Walter, is there anything else that he'd like to share?
As we were moving up, you'd see these dead bodies, and sometimes you'd hit them or kick them or try to shove them, make sure they're alive or dead, because we were going one day, and luckily I looked to my left, and I seen this Jap in this little alcove he was carrying the base of the mortar, and he was trying to hide from us, but I shot him. Him I did shoot. When I fired at him, he might have been, say about 20 feet away, because I spotted him. He's still carrying his base for his mortar. And I don't know where the other guy was. I didn't see him. So I don't know, maybe one of the other guys got shot at him. But I seen this one. He did die. I mean, I did shoot him. Well, you gotta look at 2 things. You think, am I able to pull the trigger to kill somebody, or am I not able to pull the trigger? Or do I have the power to pull the trigger? But after a while in combat, you know damn well if you don't pull the trigger, if the other guy has a rifle, you got to be faster than him. And if you're not fast enough, you might be the shooting duck. And so I always made sure if I seen a Jap, whether he was alive or dead, I would take the second shot at him. I got a Japanese flag and I took off of a dead soldier. I got a couple of dog tags. I see Marines that were shot that were actually killed. I didn't see nobody laying on the ground that was suffering. we never would leave any of our Marines lay long. Somebody was always grabbing one of them, whether they're alive or dead, and moving them out of the combat zone. You got to realize all their artillery was in tunnels. And then, of course, you look at a hill, you would never spot them because they would close these doors, and then when they would come to shoot, they would roll but the doors open, push this artillery piece out, take a shot, and then they would disappear. They'd go back in, close the door, and you couldn't see actually where the shot was coming from unless you were right up there watching, looking for it. Now, I was with one guy, and I says to him, you watch. I said, look, you're going to see this guy opening his door down there. And I said, you better make sure that we're able to take a shot. So he looks at his map. He said, okay, I got the direction where he's at. So when you see the door opening, let me know. So then I hollered at him. I says, door open. So they rolled this piece of out. And about the time they pushed this piece out, there were shells that went to them. But I don't think we hit them, because the next thing I looked, I seen the door was closed. So evidently either they didn't go push out far enough, or our artillery didn't have quite the right bearings for the shot to hit them. From the day we landed till the day I was in the hospital, we had no rain. I mean, it was total dry. Then about a week after I was out of the hospital, that's when we got the rains. And then our tanks got bogged down. Our trucks got bogged down because there was, they had no roads. They were just everything was dirt. And then all that rain, it just was one big mud pod. And the trucks couldn't move and the tanks couldn't move. They got all bogged down in that. You live it because where are you going to go? It's raining, it's pouring. You got no cover, you got nothing over your head. You just try to keep your face clean so that you can see what's going on. But you didn't look for no buildings to climb into to get out of the rain, because there really wasn't nothing where you could say, well, I can get in there and I'm safe from the rain or I'm dry. Once it started to rain, it rained. You got soaked from the toes to your head. And then you had mud up to your knees. Well, I didn't see them. See, that was a problem. Where we were at, they were on the opposite side of the hill. So unless they got their bodies up high enough, you didn't see them. And after I went to automatic and killed these four, then we were the target for them then. Because that's what they were looking for. They were looking, where the hell's this guy with this automatic rifle? They didn't call it an automatic rifle, but that's what we called it. That's when all hell broke loose, because I guess I exposed our position to them, and then that's when they really were throwing hand grenades one after another. Now, my buddy alongside of me, I used to call him Pop, because the gentleman was 33 years of age, so I used to always call him Pop. And he managed to throw these grenades one after another back until the time when he hollered, "Duck, bomb," and that's the last I remember, and that's the last time I ever seen him. To this day, I don't know whatever happened to him. I hope if anything, that he got killed rather than have the Japanese capture him. Because if they would have captured him, they would have tortured the hell out of him. So then after that, I went to the hospital and I was there. So when I first got home, there was nobody home. Everybody was out working. But when I got home, then they, oh God, they couldn't believe it. I was home. And so we got together, and of course, it was family, so we sort of hugged each other and held each other and stuff. And then I told my dad, I says, well, I says, I'm okay. I says, I'm sorry if they got the wrong telegram to you at first, but they didn't, they canceled it in time. See, the original telegram called that I was killed in action. And then it was reversed, said that I was missing. Then they found out, no, he's not missing. He was in a hospital at the time. And then, so he got the right telegram saying that I was wounded and stuff. And then I had a nice big closet, probably about 8 feet square. All my clothes were hanging. When I left, all my clothes were hanging, and I used to wear all shirts without no collars. I had to put my own collar on and stuff. My ties were hanging, my trousers were hanging, my coats were hanging. I had my shoes on a rack all along the walls. When I came home, I thought, well, I'll get out of there. I'll go up and put my clothing on. When I got up, I opened the door, and there was no clothes in there. Then my sister, I said, what the hell's my clothes? My sister said, I didn't think you were going to come home. So I got rid of everything. So I finally when I decided, went up to buy a new suit, but I had a hell of a time trying to get a suit. Because no matter what I put on, I just felt out of style. But I finally found his suit. Then I was home. I stayed home, I guess, for close to a month. I guess I had off. Once in a while, you'd wake up in the middle of the night hollering or screaming or something. Used to get nightmares about the battles occasionally. And then, of course, I had malaria, and that was no help because I used to come down with these fevers, and they were hell to pay because you're freezing, yet you were sweating like a pig, but you were freezing cold. But that was because of the malaria. So I was going to different doctors, and finally they got some medicine was able to help me. So I got rid of the malaria because I went to the hospital one time to donate some blood, and the guy says, no, we can't take your blood. You had malaria, and we won't take it because it's possible you could pass it on to somebody else. Your blood to mix with theirs, he says, you can mix the blood, but the other guy might get malaria from you. I said, okay. I never missed Sunday Mass. I always made sure I go somewhere to a Mass. Even now, I still try to get to church if I can. Once a Marine, always a Marine, semper fi.
That was simply incredible. Every time I have the privilege to be with and learn from World War II veterans, I'm amazed by their character and their commitment to ensuring America's freedom and goodness. We walked the beaches where Walter landed literally 80 years ago to the day. Now they're peaceful. They have kids and laughter, but to Walter, they still whispered with some memory.
Well, Only thing I could say to people that would, if they knew about it, if they ever lived it, they would know what we had to go and what we had to do to conquer this island.
A few American children asked for his autograph, and it reminded us that legacy lives when the next generation carries it forward. Just take a look at this footage.
Are you a World War II veteran?
I'm a World War II veteran.
Would you like a photo with him?
Yeah,
Can we take a photo with you?
I'm 299 now.
It's 99.
Wow.
Can they take
99.
Can they take a photo with you, Walter?
Yeah, go ahead. Smile.
Thank you so much.
You're
Do
welcome.
you want to ask him? Sign your book? He was wondering if you could sign his book for him.
Sure.
Do you have a pen?
Where you want me to sign it?
Say, anywhere?
Anywhere you want.
Thank you so much.
Daddy,
Thank you so much.
that you could give them.
How special.
So cool.
Thank you.
Thank you
Keep
so
reading your
much.
history. Amen to that.
Wow.
Thank you.
Is this you?
That's me.
Wow.
Two more.
Oh, I got it.
If you want.
Where's the third one?
US number.
So cool.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Enjoy your stay.
Oh, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was just like so cool meeting someone that actually went through all of that. Like, it was awesome. I want to meet many more now. I'm so grateful, and like I'm so happy that I got to meet him and stuff. He was so cool. I look up to him now.
I wasn't expecting you to get all emotional, but I appreciate it.
I didn't expect you either. I shouldn't actually like
was
think I'd meet
surprising.
someone like that. Yeah, I will never forget after this. This was amazing.
At Futenma Air Base, young Marines and a 2-star general honored Walter as one of their own. Some of them weren't even born in the United States, but they wore our uniform with pride. The way all of them, including the general, looked at Walter in admiration, it said everything.
Very wonderful to meet you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Hopefully you're having a good time.
So far, so good.
Excellent. Excellent.
I don't know what I do. I don't have my helpers, so
Well, they all want to take care of you, so we
they
got.
get me around, but they get around everywhere. So far, I'm enjoying it.
Well, welcome back to
I've
Okinawa.
come. I'll say the years since I've been there the last time.
Thank you for everything that you've done for us.
Oh, you don't know how much I appreciate this.
Yeah, no, you absolutely deserve it, 100%.
Thank you.
Want to take your picture of where you landed?
This is the beach we landed at April 1st, 1945. We landed here and got stuck in there, so then we had to jump out and walk over, and then we walked across the land here. Right across, this was all field at the time when we went. Well, brings back a little bit of memories about how tough it was to get ashore, but
And then came the heart of the mission, Sugarloaf Hill. It was the fulfillment of Walter's deepest wish, to return to the place where he nearly lost his life. That hill saw 2,662 Marines killed or missing. Most of them were from Walter's 6th Marine Division. Walter made it atop the steep hill thanks to 2 young Marines pushing his wheelchair. One of them was thanked, and he replied, "Sir, I assure you that no Marine on the planet would rather be anywhere in the world than right here with you." At the summit of Sugarloaf Hill, Walter shared what it meant to him to come full circle, to stand where he almost died and witness so many Marines get killed. Young men, boys, Marines with families and futures ahead of them, waiting for them to return home from the battlefield.
LaSota, I can speak for all the Marines when we all care a great deal about you. and that brotherhood.
So, this is something to see. Unbelievable. In memory of all the Japanese and American perished trying to get this world. I appreciate. Am I happy I was able to come and visit you? So happy. Oh, God. Never done it in my life where I dreamed I was coming back and see this. Oh, this is something I'll tell you. Oh. No, I'll never forget what happened on Sugarloaf. I'm sorry, but this is one thing that will always stick in my mind, this hill, because this was a tough battle up here. Of course, I got the worst of it. We got blown out of that hole, but at least we captured it, took it away from the Japs, and chased them out of here.
All too often, our veterans are left to process their memories on their own. All too often, others forget to acknowledge and appreciate them, which is what made this portion of our journey so special. Later, we paused so Walter could see the city of Naha, the one he helped liberate. It's thriving now. So much has changed, he said, from devastation to hope. While much of the mission was demanding, emotionally and otherwise, we tried to make sure that Walter and his daughter, Cynthia, had a good time. They got to experience the mission together. They got to eat well, and we tried to make sure they had some good laughs.
Always room for dessert.
Walter's story, their story, it reminds us that history and high ideals, they don't live in textbooks. They live in people. They live in places. And they live in each one of us if we're willing to carry it forward. What is their story? What does Walter's story teach us about sacrifice and self-determination, about reconciling fear with courage, and honoring those who gave everything? What would you give up for something greater than yourself? What kind of legacy are you living? We don't honor the past with words alone. We honor it by how we live, how we remember, and how we lead. To learn more or to support our mission, contact us through eaglesociety.us. Until next time, carry the torch. A lot of people played really big roles in helping make this possible, and I want to thank all of them. I especially want to thank Molly Hone and the Eagle Society team and all the Eagle Society supporters for helping us make a real difference and have a completely unforgettable experience. Thank you.